Kick it down a little, Kyle, angle it. There you go. Action.
It is about a cobbler from the Lower East Side who now lives in Brooklyn, but they still have the family shop in the Lower East Side, and he's sort of feeling a little bit maybe stuck in his life.
How was work?
Work was the same as every other day.
He's just going through the motions at work, and he's good at what he does. He's a good cobbler, but it doesn't bring him too much joy.
I need these fixed, you man.
Sure.
And I need them tonight.
He's feeling kind of unclear about who he is and what he's supposed to do, and he finds that he has this special power, and that kind of helps him become more of who he really wants to be.
He discovers this old stitcher that was sort of a family heirloom that he has to use in a pinch. He uses it and finds out it has a sort of special power.
If you repair a pair of shoes on this machine, you can become the person who owns the shoes. So you can literally walk in another man's shoes.
And we assembled this great cast for this movie. Adam was the first piece. We wrote it with him in mind, we called him, and we just hit it off immediately, and he jumped on board, and then everything else kind of fell into place.
When I read it, I was excited to be this guy as an actor and just to get to do a different type of performance.
It's great because Adam's been doing this obviously for a very long time, and we all know him from like these big comedies, but there's a reason why after working with him I know that he's so successful because he's so professional and so kind.
Adam showed a whole different level of you know, the person he is and the kind of characters that he can play. Knowing that he would be in this film, I was like, yeah, because usually when Adam does serious work, people love him for that.
Once we knew who Max was, it was really fun to just put the pieces together around him.
You've got all these wonderful actors, but who come from very different backgrounds, and I love the idea of kind of having to make them all work together and watch that happen.
Maybe it's about time I figure out my own thing, you know?
You're a cobbler. That's your thing.
It's my father's thing.
And his father before that. You should be proud.
Buscemi's been fantastic, and he's just a powerhouse. He's just so in the moment, real and funny and fresh every time.
Jimmy, my character, is sort of a good friend, kind of like an older buddy to Max. And yeah, you know, I think Max likes Jimmy a lot, but I don't know if he likes to spend that much time with him. But Jimmy is very fond of Max, likes him a lot, and will always think of a reason to go over to his place. Jimmy really does have a vested interest in Max's welfare. He just really wants to see him do well. And so he's always kind of watching over him.
How you doing today, my G? Working hard?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Can't knock the hustle. Work hard, play harder, right, player? God bless Americola. My character off top is just an all-around bad dude with a bad soul, you know? But my other character, the Max Ludlow character, a little bit more levels to him, you know, because it's basically the shoemaker in my body.
Oh boy. Cliff has been incredible. I've been watching him. You know, we had a few scenes together, and he was definitely a nuanced performer and coming up with really interesting stuff, and he's funny in the movie, and it's a tour de force for that kid. He's been really working hard. He's working harder than all of us.
My biggest hang up about it was, how do I portray not Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler's character as far as Max Ludlow goes. The thing that I used to help me out was the fact that Ludlow is so much of a bad dude that if I make him even worse, it's easier to do the Adam part because he's such a, you know, good guy.
Well, Max, I'm Carmen Herrera from the Lower East Side Action Committee.
Okay.
Basically, we're dedicated to the preservation and rejuvenation of the Lower East Side. My character comes into Max's cobbler shop one day, and she asked him to sign a petition so that they can try to save the neighborhood from being gentrified. And they, in turn, have this kind of interesting, really uncommon relationship that is a big part of the last part of the movie.
She's been fantastic and on it and alive and sweet and just really cool, really good actress and smart and keeps you on your toes.
My wife and I lived in this apartment 45 years. I raised my daughter here, Sonia. I cannot run away.
He's a man who has had a horrible past, but he has got over it and is a man of principle, a man without bitterness, and a man who is ready to die for what he thinks.
The story originated from me thinking about that phrase, to walk a mile in another man's shoes, and what that meant and where it, I honestly didn't know where it originated from. And so I was doing a little bit of research on it and then started kind of noodling on the idea, and then reached out to Paul Sato, who co-wrote the movie with me, and said, I wonder if there's a movie in here somewhere.
Tom had this idea about a cobbler who could walk in the shoes of his customers. And that's pretty much where it started. He just called me up one day and said, come over, let's take a walk. And we did that. And he walked me over to his cobble shop in his old neighborhood where he was living at the time. And there was this cobbler with this basement level shop, and directly next to that was this barber. And we just kind of started there thinking about, like, okay, well, who would these guys be? And, you know, how might they interact? What would their world be like? And then sort of working from, okay, what if he had this special power, and what would that look like? And, you know, we kind of took it organically from there in terms of just, you know, working from character.
You just have no idea what's coming, you know, and you think, oh, here's a story about a lonely guy that lives on the Lower East Side, and what's going to happen to him, who's he going to meet, you know, is sort of a lot of the ways Tom's films have worked. Like, who's going to come into his life and who's he going to meet? And so in this film, it's interesting that he knows a lot of those people before the movie begins, but who he meets is sort of different versions of himself.
I was delighted with it, as almost everybody who reads this thing is. And I know people are going to love it.
The thing about Tom's work that I like is that you never quite know where it's going. You know, it's always a little bit unpredictable, and that's always great. You know, if you could stay ahead of the audience like that, it's nice.
As I'm reading it, it's like, okay, yeah, I get it, you know, okay, and then there's a twist that comes, and I usually see those things coming. I didn't see this coming, and I was so pissed at myself, but intrigued at the same time. Like, wow, if I didn't see that coming, imagine the audience. I gotta get in this movie.
Tom had Paul on set a lot, you know. Actually, he was there every time I was there, and we rehearsed. And that was just a great day, just to be in a room with all those guys and to be, you know, talking about the script and having Paul take notes and Tom and incorporate some of the things that we had talked about or discovered in the rehearsal.
I learned a lot from Tom during the process of writing the script, and one of the things that he would always say while we were writing was, you know, is this beat actable? You know, is this an actable beat? Really coming from an empathetic standpoint in terms of the actor. You know, it may look pretty on the page, but an actor's gonna have to come in and play with this. And are we helping them or are we hurting them?
I've never worked with a director who's also an actor, so it's really interesting. Like, he told me something that was really simple, but really kind of helped me. He was like, stop thinking. And I think that an actor would know that kind of feeling when you like overthink a note or you overthink a scene, and he's just like very much in tune with an actor's like sensibilities.
Tom, so hands-on. I have to give him all the credit for, you know, helping me find my Max Ludlow character, because I can do the Ludlow all day, you know, I come from that. But with his help, he helped me find little nuances here and there, how to simplify things, and, you know, this is basically on-the-job training. He's a great director, man, great director.
I love working with directors that at least know about acting, you know, it's even better when they've actually done some acting, because he understands the process, and it was never, you know, you're here and this is what we're doing. It was always sort of, here's an idea of where we want to stage it, but let's see how it goes.
He's just a good man and a thoughtful guy, and trust him with his vision and his taste and what he wants from me, and it's been a very cool process.
The film taking place in New York, it gives an opportunity for Adam's character to, you know, there's such a diverse group of people that come into his shop, and you don't get that in too many other cities, you know, so it really gives Adam's character a chance to be many different people.
The diversity of New York certainly plays very heavy, and the history of the Lower East Side. The movie starts in 1903 in a tenement building, so it really owes a lot to the history of that specific neighborhood in New York.
What's great about this movie is it's respectful to New York and New York's past and the Lower East Side, and so many people who I tell the story to get excited. New Yorkers get excited.
If you want to tell a story about the significance of community and about history and about a world that's changing and what are we going to preserve and how do we progress, I don't think you're going to find a better backdrop in New York City.
I don't care where you're from or how you live, New York is the ultimate backdrop. It's nothing like the authentic feel, the smell, the look of the buildings, the people. I mean, where better to shoot than New York?
It's all in the details, like look at the cast. Method Man, you have me, you have the most weirdest group of people together, and like that's New York.
I'm not saying that New York is the most interesting city in the world, but kind of is, you know.
To be here in my city doing this kind of work, you can't even describe it. It's like the best thing in the world.
We had some real locations, like Jimmy's barbershop was a real location. And then Max's repair shop was totally invented.
It all started with the Cobbler shop, and you know, Steve Carter, our production designer, did a great job of we had a shop that felt like it'd been there for 150 years.
Before we actually started shooting in the shop, but the shop was there, and we were all going there to do some tests and things, and Adam was coming to see the set and everything, so we were all there, but we didn't have all the apparatus of movie making. People were walking by, like coming by saying, oh, can we get a price list? You know, we want to bring our shoes here tomorrow. We're like, oh, this isn't real. So that was like the best compliment that, you know, you could get, that it just looked like something that had always been in that neighborhood.
It's a truly an independent film, but that could mean anything. So I don't know how to classify this movie.
It's definitely a drama with a lot of comedy in it, or you could call it a comedy with a lot of drama in it.
I call it a Tom McCarthy film, because they sort of defy genre, you know, because they, like I said, they start out one way and then they become something else and then they become something else again.
It's a dramatic comedy, but owes a lot to a fairy tale. It's pretty fun, kind of maybe a dark fairy tale.
It's surprisingly funny, and then it's scary at times. I have no idea what genre to say it is, but it is a fresh take on it, whatever that genre is.
I think that we wrote this piece from a place of character. And once we decided, okay, we're going to follow Max Simpkin on a journey, and we're going to take a look at this guy and his life, then, you know, really genre at a certain point kind of goes out the window.
I think the film's a lot of fun to watch. I think people take an appreciation of like New York and the way New York used to be, because I think we capture a lot of that.
It's gonna be fun. Like I think people are gonna feel really like lighthearted and moved and kind of affected by the love that we have for our neighborhood.
It's at times a full-on comedy, and then at times it's just heartbreaking, and it's all over the place, but it all connects, it all makes sense.
And I'm confident that this will be a true Tom McCarthy film.
It's an interesting story and a fun story, and it's well told, and some great actors. And I think, you know, all we ever wanted for this movie is people to sit back and enjoy it and have a good ride, and I think we provide that.